All right, we're back live here in the 3700 block of Southwest Plaza Drive. Now it's just a little bit after 1:05 on Wednesday afternoon. About an hour ago, shots rang out here in this area on the west side of the White Lakes Plaza apartments here. You can see it's just to the east of the Walmart store, right across that fence, folks. That's the Walmart parking lot. And again, there's the familiar water tower there in South Topeka. This is where we are located, right off of Southwest 37th and Topeka Boulevard, about 2 blocks west. You can tell all the orange cones down below here where the gunfire was reported. You can see the evidence markers down here. I counted about 30 of these markers. Police have not yet come over to give us any details, but we're talking to some of the people who live in this complex. They told me that 2 cars were facing each other right here in the west parking lot here of the White Lakes Plaza apartments. 2 people got out of each of the vehicles, we're told, and the gunfire was then exchanged. Now, at some point during that exchange of gunfire, we're told at least 1 person was wounded. We don't know if there was more than 1, but at least 1 person was wounded. After the shots had ceased, the witnesses told us that one of the cars sped away to the south here, where again they would have to kind of make a horseshoe and turn back out because there's only one way in and out of here, which is on the 37th Street side of this complex. So one of the vehicles went south, and you can see that fence down to my south, so I'm looking straight at it. They would have to take a left or east turn and then back to the north to get out of here. The other vehicle was already facing north, and it just sped away again to the north right here, as I'm kind of panning here, showing you where they went. So a short time after the shooting was reported, we also were hearing reports that 2 vehicles, or at least we should say there were 2 reports of at least 1 vehicle, possibly 2, speeding away from this scene. Now, there may have been 2 vehicles because the descriptions somewhat varied between these 2 vehicles. One of them was said to be going about 90 miles an hour north on Topeka Boulevard. The other was said to be going real fast down Washburn around 17th and Washburn with its flashers on, again going at a very high rate of speed. The vehicles very likely, and again we're waiting to hear on this, but again we believe that the vehicles were headed, at least one of those vehicles, if there was one, was headed to one of the hospitals located next to each other, basically between 10th and 6th off of Washburn Avenue in that vicinity in central Topeka, west central Topeka. We are waiting confirmation on that as far as whether the victim or victims did get to the hospital, and if so, which hospital, and if they did indeed go by private vehicle. However, there was never a report of an American Medical Response ambulance taking anyone to the hospital from what we heard. And again, we're just waiting for more information here. Hopefully one of the officers will swing by here momentarily to give us an update. So that's where we're at this point. You can see there's a lot of police presence here. Obviously, this area was marked off within about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so after the shooting at the very most. And officers have been here canvassing this area ever since that time. We have several police cars, crime scene investigation unit here, and again we're just waiting to get some details. So we're going to just stay here while we can from those who would be able to maybe give us a little information here from the scene. This is located on the west side of the White Lakes Plaza apartments over here off of 37th and Topeka Boulevard. We're about 2 blocks west of Topeka Boulevard off of 37th. And again, just to the east here of the Walmart store on 37th Street in South Topeka. We're not going to say a whole lot right now. We're going to try to see if we can't find an officer to come speak to us. We'll just kind of let you see what we're seeing here momentarily. I'm going to try to keep this live until such time as we get an officer to speak to us, which hopefully will be in the very near future, next few minutes.
Signal 37 in the road, cousin of signal 64.
I don't know where to park. Does it have something to do with that car right there?
476, good course, 24.
I know, I'm about to.
The White Lakes Plaza apartments, as you can tell here, just back in this area of kind of a commercial area on the southwest 37th and Topeka, just back behind here. We're maybe a half a block to the south of 37th Street. And again, we'll see if we can't catch up with one of the officers here momentarily, see if we can get at least a little update before we conclude our report here. When this call came in, there were, as I had mentioned in the prior Facebook Live report that I did a moment ago, there were all kinds of reports of gunshots in this area, and you can imagine why when you see the number of shell casings that are over here. Again, multiple calls came in on this shooting. Some thought it had been maybe a bit to the west of here, near the Carriage House apartments. They were reporting some shots over there, and then officers quickly found that this was the scene here of gunfire here again, 3735 Southwest Plaza Drive, where we're standing right now.
Should be a white GMC Denali pulling the trailer. Looks like they are pulling into the service area now. 344.
Someone says that's a lot of shell casing. Yes, I counted right around 30 altogether. A little hard to keep track of each of them, but there were certainly a lot, that's for sure. And they're spread out over, what, maybe 50 feet. Bear with me here as we continue. They say anything about bringing anybody over?
Well, I tried to. What they do know is, well, he said that the person that went to the hospital, they assume it is the person that is involved in the alleged shooting. But they can't really confirm anything right now because it's still alleged.
All right.
So,
well, hopefully one of the guys, I may go down there and see what I can find out. If one of the gentlemen down there, because it's kind of to that point of, we'd like to know something, you know. Let's see if anybody will visit with us, maybe if we can scream down there. Okay.
Will be 83548. Should be on a counting issue tag.
We'll kind of keep angling around here. Again, bear with me, folks. I appreciate your staying with me here as we're trying to keep everything going with all of the different things we're doing here. Trying to do photos and Facebook at the same time is a little challenging, but doing the best that we can here. Again, we'll see if we can ascertain a little bit more here momentarily from one of the officers here at the scene. There were people around here earlier that I visited with who gave me their account of what happened here. And again, we're waiting to get more details from officers on the scene, and hopefully we can find out something here momentarily. I'm trying to pick up some of the evidence here, Pierce. told some casings and projectiles were found on the ground.
Transmission issues. He has somebody coming to help him.
Again, we're hoping to hear from the police here before we end our Facebook Live here. We are not seeing a tremendous number of officers here at this point. I believe some who were here have since left the area. And again, waiting to find out what information it might be available here before we sign off here. Again, reported shooting here this afternoon. We were told that there was a victim, at least one that went to the hospital. We don't know if there were two. Told two vehicles sped away from the scene. Again, we're not sure if one of those vehicles took someone to the hospital. However, that was the initial indication that we did receive, that one of the vehicles at least was taking a victim to the hospital. We haven't heard of any extent of injuries, any condition reports at this point. So again, we're just waiting to see what we can find out here, and hopefully we'll have somebody come over and give us an update here momentarily.
This information, I tried to check the cameras for that Suburban at 19 and had some issues with the playback, but weren't able to find anything as well.
What happened?
I think the watchman overdosed on you.
Oh, did he take off? Or did he leave? Oh, shoot. Okay.
So the only thing I can tell you is call Colleen,
Okay.
PIO.
Okay.
They should have something for
Okay. Do you know if anybody was wounded at all? Do we know?
One.
One wounded.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, one showed up at the hospital.
But not by private vehicle, probably, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, what we will do now as we sign off is simply to say that one person did show up at the hospital with a gunshot wound. We don't know that person's extent of injuries. However, we will say that this person did get to the hospital by private vehicle, as what we were told was the case. In the meantime, police here are collecting evidence, and there are somewhere between the range of 25 and 30 shell casing markers out here on the scene that we believe, as you can see right now, officers are collecting that evidence, and we'll give you more information as it becomes available. That's about all we're going to get at this point, we're told. So, to recap this one last time, prior to signing off for the final time here, around 12:05 p.m. on Wednesday, police were sent here to the 3700 block of Southwest Plaza Drive, which is about 2 blocks west of 37th and Topeka Boulevard, just here to the immediate east of the Walmart store on 37th. Right across the fence there is the Walmart parking lot. On a report of numerous gunshot calls. There were lots of people calling in this report. As you can imagine, there was a lot of traffic there at Walmart, and over here somewhere in the neighborhood it appears of 25 to 30 shots were fired. Neighbors here, or residents of this area, said that 2 cars were facing each other, 2 people got out of each car. The gunshots were fired. 1 vehicle then took off to the south, 1 to the north, and again, at least one of them ended up at the hospital with a victim. We don't know the extent of injuries at this point. Again, stay with us. We'll have more information on that on cjonline.com later this afternoon. Reporting now from South Topeka, this is Phil Anderson for cjonline.com. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.